In this video, I'm going to discuss about AI. With so many recent happenings in AI, it is getting a bit difficult to cope up with AI. And as you might have heard, that everyone is saying you need to cope up with the AI to stay relevant within your fields. But there are like two aspects of AI. One is we need to know what AI itself is and what's the theory behind it, and then we need to know what is the actual use and how we are going to implement that AI in our daily jobs or daily routine. So without knowing something about AI, it would be extremely hard to stay relevant. In a sense, like you can't implement AI one unless and until you know some underlying mechanics. So without further ado, let's start dive in the AI. First, what we are going to talk about, what is AI. Basically, one thing which is like happening nowadays, like people are very concerned that AI is going to take their job. Either it's a development job, either it's any sort of a laborious job. So everyone is very much concerned. Like we are going to discuss, will this is going to impact your job? Then the second thing is how AI is likely going to affect or change your job in the next 10 years. This is one more thing, like how it's impacting our routine lives and how we need to cope up and get ourselves like equipped in a very well manner. So AI doesn't replace us, but we should embrace the AI. And last, we need to know like which AI technologies are being used now, and what's going to come next. So with this AI, first we need to know like we should define AI. How should we define? Basically, AI is sort of a thing which means different to different people. Like AI for some who have seen science fiction films, so they think that AI is form of a robot which is going to surpass human intelligence, and others they merely think this as a data processing technology and which really help us get our jobs done in a better manner. So before diving directly in the to AI, let's just see a few examples like where AI is being consumed or used. You can see we have like self-driving cars like Tesla and so many other who have recently launched, and content recommendation where you might see on any sort of a streaming platform some certain contents have been recommended to you. So how come it works? So let's first discuss about a self-driving car. How does a self-driving car like use AI? It if it needs to go from A to B. So one thing that comes into play in the processing unit is to search and plan because it needs to identify the most convenient route. The second thing, which is of very importance, is the computer vision. Like it's being the self-driving car is being well equipped with cameras and lidars and other peripherals that help this to identify the pedestrians and other moving objects. And the third thing is the actual decision making under uncertain circumstances. So what does it mean? Like it needs to take certain decisions. Like if either it's need to keep continuing when it's like identifying a pedestrian, or it should stop. And how if the lane is merging to another lane, how would it make this decision? So these implications are on like a road, like road safety should be there, and there are like efficiency of logistic chains. So we will be discussing this in detail in the upcoming slides. Second thing is the recommendation system. You can see like online advertisements and movie recommendations and the music recommendations all are being done using these type of AI based systems. And the third, like face recognition. So in face recognition, there are so many things. This is used to tag people on the social media. That is used to organize the people and passport control and so many other applications of this have been used. So with this being done, you need to know one thing, that there is no officially agreed definition of AI. I do obviously AI do have a definition, but there are like multiple definitions. First, I will be focusing on the very general definition. AI itself is a field of computer science. So you can say it's a subfield of computer science which is concerned with like creating system or agents. We'll be discussing this in detail in upcoming lectures. So typically, which requires human intelligence. Anything which requires human intelligence, like reasoning, learning, or problem solving. So this is the definition of AI. Any system or agent which is sort of a human intelligence, shows human intelligence by reasoning and learning. So then we call it artificial intelligence. Other Stanford University do have a definition of its own. So I'm not going to go into detail of each and every one, but you need to know that there are several definitions for AI. Once we move forward, AI itself encompasses of very different fields, like different fields. When I say different fields, machine learning itself is a branch of AI. So what does machine learning do? It's like focuses on algorithm and a statistical model, and then it's help after learning different patterns, it helps perform specific tasks. Then comes deep learning. Deep learning itself and a subset, or I would say a branch of machine learning. So you can see like on top we have computer science, then inside that machine learning, and from that deep learning is being extracted. How does we may make this different from machine learning? Deep learning basically uses artificial neural network, which we'll be discussing in upcoming slides, with multiple layers, where one layer act as an input or output for other, and other like these multiple layers do perform complex tasks like image recognition, natural language processing, and speech recognition. Then comes the data science. Data science is not a specific field within this, but it is an interdisciplinary field where some part of it is part of these fields and some is part of statistics. We will be discussing those in detail. Same goes with robotics. So let's move further. Now you can see the Euler diagram. You can see everything is part of computer science, and then within the computer science is artificial intelligence. Then we have a machine learning. Then inside that we have deep learning, and you can see data science is sort of an intersection. Intersection in a sense, like part of it is of statistics, and part of it is within this deep learning and machine learning. So once we move along, you will get more idea. So AI problem solving, even you can see there are very basic methods that are being used to perform certain things. Like if we are trying to get from point to B, then we need to have a specific search algorithm to be used. And if we need to play TikTok or chess, so we need to build game trees. So using that game trees, that problem could have been solved. If we move further, then we'll be discussing the real world problem. We will be discussing the self-driving car to try to map each and everything which we have learned so far in that. Before discussing further about self-driving cars, we will just try to grasp a concept of probability and odds that will help us. Probability is basically if let's say we have a dice, and you can see like on our dice we can have six sides. So the probability of any item or any number is like number of favorable outcomes, which let's say we want to have six, and then the total number of possible outcomes is six. So it is going to be 1 upon 6. And for the odds says like it's the number of favorable unfavorable items or favorable items divided by the unfavorable one. So in a dice which is having six sides, the favorable outcome is going to be 1, and the number of unfavorable outcome will be 5. So you can see below it's going to be 1 upon 6 for the probability, but for odds it's going to be 1 upon 5. So these are very high level things you just need to know. I will go into much detail once we touch these topics. So why I touch base these topics rather than going or discussing about a self-driving car. Self-driving do use these type of probability and odds very specifically in self-driving. Like the AI uses sensors. Sensor, if I say about like camera and lidar, so they used to detect object. So what does it do? It do like try to get a probability of a person. Let's say if it sees a person moving, so as the computer can't recognize is it's a human or not, they don't have a exact sense which we humans do have. So what they used to do, they have a probability based on the data or knowledge they already have. So let's say if there is a 60% probability that the object on the road is a plastic bag, not a rod, so it will continue moving. Then it talks about the use of odds. So use of odds is like if you can say AI is 19 times more confident it's a pedestrian than not. So it will keep continuing. And if the odds is being calculated based on the fusion of different data from different peripherals, it will try to stop or steer. So decision making, how it makes a decision. So you can see the AI use probability to model uncertainty. What does it mean? It says like if it identifies or its probabilistic model identify there is a 60-85% chance that a car ahead will change lane. So if this feedback is being given, so the our self-driving car is going to de-accelerate and it will try to stop. So based on the probability it have been provided and based on the odds, what it's going to do, if there are like odds of a safe lane change at 4 or 1, but the odd of braking safely are 6 or 1, then the self-driving car is going to brake. These are very like abstract thing, but moving forward you'll surely get a like fine idea of how it works. Then there is a concept of sensor fusion. You can see like a self-driving car do have cameras, lidars, and different other peripherals which help them combine uh, all the data, and then based on that it do like make a decision. So these for those things sort of a Bayesian interface is being used. So let's say what does the bias rule. Bias rule is, imagine you are guessing something, then you get a clue. So what it helps you change your beliefs. Let's say if you are trying to think about a thing and you are like thinking that it's either like I would say liquid or something, and somehow you get a clue. So based on that clue, let's say you get a clue that it's do have a some border. So the clue itself help you identify or change your belief that this is something else. So this is how bias rule work. And how do it works inside the self-driving car? Self-driving car itself do have a data which is called sort of a prior, like when it's driving on a road, based on its experience and how the deep learning model have the feed in the data, it knows there are like 30% of intersection. What does happen further when the car sees a red octagon? Red octagon means a stop sign, so it sees a evidence. Evidence means it sees that I am navigating inside a pedestrian like road, and based on this evidence, what it's going to do, it's going to calculate a posterior. You can see a formula over there. It might looks abstract, but you need to know like how it do calculates. Like it recalculates the things, and based on the most recent posterior, it takes certain decisions, and it keeps doing this. Moving forward, we will be touching the machine learning. Machine learning itself is, as you have seen, that's a part of computer science. And there are like three main types of machine learning. One is supervised learning. The second one is the unsupervised learning. And the third one is the reinforcement learning. What does supervised learning do? Basically, the algorithm have been provided with the labeled data. What does a labeled data means? Like if there is a picture of a cat is being provided, is being labeled, and the self a self-driving car or anything else, or any system is being trained on that labeled image. So this way the our model learns how the things are going to be when it sees another somewhat similar thing. The second thing is unsupervised learning. What does it do? It learns from the unlabeled data. What does it try? It try to find like hidden patterns, because it has not been provided with a labeled data. So it doesn't know what the things are, but it does try to group those things in a similar, because if it have been fed with so much data, so it try to filter out or group certain things into different things. So same goes with the third thing, which is a reinforcement learning. What does the algorithm do? Like it learns by interacting with an environment and receiving the feedback. So these three machine learnings are in play in the self-driving car. And the most recent happening, which have led to the boom of AI, is the usage of neural network. Neural networks itself are not very like new, but with the advent of so much hardware and some other good algorithms being found, so neural networks uh, plays a very crucial, I would say, major breakthrough in the happenings of AI. What does it do? What actually the basic concept of having a neural network? When the people tries or the scientists try to mimic the human intelligence, they thought of thinking that how human brain works. So in human brains, I'll be giving a brief that human brains work with neurons. There are like several neurons, and neurons do receive input, and those input have been processed and have been provided to other neurons. And there are like three main things being used: dendrites, synapses, and axons. So neuron, you can think of it as a self-processing unit which takes a data, and based on what have been provided, it do adjust a weight and it train itself. So there you can achieve two. We can achieve two things like neuron-based parallelism. Each like artificial neuron process information independently. It do enable like simultaneous computation. If we talk about our normal computer do have like CPU and memory. So, but it do process like a single thing at a given point of time. But with the provisioning of GPUs, which are able to properly process data in parallel, these neural networks have like grown very quickly. And the same goes like neuron itself, store and compute. So it's a you can think of it as a single unit. So, with this neurons analogy, we came to know that AI itself is a very vast topic, but neural networks is the core foundational thing. Hope you learned some very basic concepts of AI, and I'll be discussing each and every concept in detail in the upcoming videos.